When it comes to Drake, this week in hip-hop started with some of the craziest news we've seen in a long time. We've got lawsuits falling apart, Tupac being dragged into court, people getting paid to hype up an album nobody actually wants, and so much more. The Iceman noise keeps getting louder from Drake's camp, but the actual hype keeps dropping. And now we know exactly why. What just got exposed behind all of this is worse than anyone imagined. Before we get into it, leave a like, subscribe, and support the video. Because the deeper this Iceman failure goes, the louder and more aggressive Drake's remaining fans get. And when I'm out here just telling the truth, they really don't like it. So stand with me. There are 3 things about to come out today that will decimate Drake's image like never before. All 3 things, the lawsuit, the attempt to cover up the lawsuit, and the attempt to save the album, share one unifying theme: manufacturing. Everything coming from Drake and everyone around him right now is completely fake. People are literally getting paid to push pro-Drake talking points. The bags are bigger than ever because they are that desperate. And that's just the beginning of how pathetic this has gotten. Other people are writing the script of Drake's life for him right now, and it's all a sham. Everything we're seeing is a facade. If you don't believe me, we're about to get into it. And for the Drake fans still around, don't get mad at me. I'm just the messenger. Because what just got dug up inside the OVO community is so embarrassing, it almost feels too on brand to be real. This whole week, people like academics, OVO Mall, and all the other Iceman cheerleaders have been pushing harder than ever, acting like something big is building. Whether it's Mall claiming Drake's raps are going to be great, or academics dropping cryptic messages before collecting his DoorDash, they're all trying to make it seem like a storm is coming. But who actually cares? And speaking of who cares, who is actually funding this Iceman era? That's the real question, and the answer is sadder than ever. We're about to get into how bad the lawsuit has gotten and how Drake just permanently soured his relationship with UMG. But first, I'm very happy to report something I've been saying for a while. UMG is absolutely furious. After over 15 years of inflating and manufacturing everything Drake has ever received, he turned around and went to war with them, and they are done. The way we know UMG has cut Drake off, telling him the resources meant for Iceman got burned on the lawsuit and he's on his own, is through a marketing brief that leaked between Drake's team and the people funding this era. The brief shows exactly who's being paid to push positive Iceman content across social media. And when you see who is actually bankrolling this album now that UMG has walked away, just brace yourself for how sad this is. It's Kick and Stake. That's who's funding the Iceman album. The loser final bosses are gathered around the table. Academics, Aiden Ross, the Drake streams, the Drake partnerships, all of it is culminating in Kick and Stake financing this project. And pages are out here confessing they've been part of this campaign and trying to play it off like it's normal. It came from a secret OVO Discord server, because of course it did. What you can see right now is that academics' own posts are literally being used as the textbook for how to hype Iceman. They are handing out bags for people to spread positive word of mouth about the album. The campaign expired on April 15th. It's already passed, but it tells you everything. If you've noticed the Iceman noise getting louder while the genuine excitement keeps dropping, that is not a coincidence. That is a paid operation. And just the fact that this needs to exist at all says everything. If Drake is supposedly the biggest rapper in the world, why does he need a manufactured, bag-fueled, inorganic campaign in 2026 just to generate buzz? Either you're scared because he genuinely has no pull left in the market, or you believe so deeply in the conspiracy that the whole industry is rigged against him that you need this operation to fight back. Either way, it's slop. It's shameful, and it's some of the most pathetic behavior we've ever seen in hip-hop. This rap game used to have standards. The best artists put in real work and let the music speak. Kendrick dropped GNX on a random Friday morning with zero manufactured campaigns and delivered one of the most commercially successful albums of the last 15 years. But because Drake is not that kind of musician, not that kind of businessman, and not that kind of professional, this is what he has to do instead. Beg for bags, partner with Steak and Kick, and have academics dance on stream for him. It's genuinely some of the most blatant manipulation we've ever seen from someone who still claims to be the king of anything. Drake going this far, building mandated campaigns, turning against UMG, bringing in these embarrassing financiers, while Iceman has become less of an album and more of a psychological operation to convince people he's still relevant. This isn't a music rollout anymore, it's a delusion piece. A fake album wrapped in manufactured hype and brainwashing. The more academics talks and the more Drake posts pictures of Ice with nothing behind them, the clearer it becomes that Iceman doesn't actually exist as a real creative work. And now let's talk about the lawsuit. Because on top of all of this, Drake just hit a brand new rock bottom with his legal response. In his latest filing, buried under the usual complaining and victim posturing, Drake made a move that is genuinely one of the most disrespectful things he's ever done. And it involves Tupac Shakur's estate, which, given that we just hit the 2-year anniversary of the tailor-made freestyle, feels particularly poetic and particularly disgusting. Here's what Drake is now arguing. Because the Tupac estate sent him a cease and desist over the tailor-made freestyle, forcing him to remove it before Not Like Us dropped, Drake is claiming that people never had a reasonable opportunity to hear his side of the beef, and therefore, Not Like Us should be held liable for defamation because the context of his response was taken away. He is literally trying to use Tupac's estate pulling his track down as a legal argument in his favor. There's also a narrative floating around in Drake's camp that Kendrick Lamar was the one who pressured the Tupac estate into sending that cease and desist. The Tupac estate has already said that did not happen, but Drake fans keep running with it anyway, because at this point they'll believe anything he says. And now Drake is sitting in a courtroom trying to blame Tupac Shakur's estate for the collapse of his career, after he used Tupac's image without consent in the first place. Every time you think Drake has hit the floor, he finds another level below it. To use a deceased legend who cannot speak for himself as a scapegoat in your own legal disaster, after you already disrespected his image by using it without permission, is genuinely one of the most disgraceful things we've seen in hip-hop in a long time. And in a culture that has held Tupac in the highest regard for decades, this is not just bad PR. This is Drake showing he has zero real respect for this space. And this whole victim complex Drake keeps building has now reached its absolute peak. The propaganda machine, the manufactured Iceman campaign, and now trying to pin the blame on Tupac's estate. It's all the same strategy. Keep expanding the victim narrative. Keep pointing fingers at everyone except himself, and hope nobody notices that the music doesn't exist. But the clock is running out. This is the end game for Drake's lawsuit. Unless the court drags things out further, he is out of time. And his latest response, full of the same crying, misquoting, and false victimhood we've seen before, is not going to save him. The only new thing here is how far he's willing to go to avoid taking any accountability for anything. And in a poetic sense, Tupac has now become the recurring domino that keeps accelerating Drake's downfall. Every single time Drake touches Tupac's legacy or drags his name into something, it pushes his career further into the hole. And to do what he's doing, to use Pac as a legal shield after using his image without consent, you would have to be someone with no genuine love or respect for this culture. Which is exactly what Kendrick said on Not Like Us, and every move Drake makes keeps proving it more right. So Drake, keep messing with Tupac's legacy, because every time you do, things get worse for you. UMG has you on ice. Kick and Steak are your backers now. Your album rollout is the most inorganic and manufactured we've ever seen from anyone at your supposed level. And your lawsuit is crumbling in real time. The road to Iceman has become one of the most embarrassing stretches in mainstream rap history. And when the music actually drops, if it ever does, you're gonna have to face all of it. The propaganda won't protect you anymore. The paid campaign expires, the fake hype disappears, and all that's left is the music standing on its own. So bring it on. Because if you're truly this confident, you won't have a problem. But we both know why you're stalling.
Is history about to repeat itself? Because if Drake walks into this the way it looks right now, unprepared, overconfident, and not ready to back up anything he's been selling, it's going to be 2024 all over again. And honestly, the way these guys are talking, that feels like exactly where this is heading. Good luck. Because if this goes even 5% the way the beef went, the next 2 years are going to be very long for Drake and everyone around him.
So let me know, what do you think is more pathetic? Dragging Tupac's estate into your lawsuit, or paying people to manufacture hype for your album while claiming to be the biggest rapper alive? Either way, Drake, the clock is ticking, and when there are no more lies left to tell, you're going to have to actually show up with the music. Check out the suggested video to see exactly what happened right before all of this went down.
Leave a like, subscribe, and support the video.